G'day viewers, my name is Michael and welcome back to SingleRacer. And now before we get to today's video, I have mentioned to my regular subscribers in the past that it was always my intention to originally only ever do the one video, but what I couldn't get over was the incredible community aspect of sim racing on YouTube. And so how many channels were willing to give their secrets, shall we say, away, or just share information with people who were missing bits from certain games or certain hardware, things like that, and others were so willing to help out, make everyone a better sim racer. And so with that in mind, I thought of introducing, and this isn't going to be a regular thing, just when it's appropriate, but essentially a sim racing channel of the month, similar to what you hear with the takeaway food restaurants where they award the employee of the month, that kind of thing, just to pick one channel and give it a bit of praise if I think it's worthy. And so as an example, a couple of other channels that would have won the sim racing channel of the month would be channels like Magic and Reg Racer, as you see here. And the person who I felt would have deserved it just before I had to unfortunately close my channel down for a couple of months would have been the channel by his own name, Chris Hay. And now, ironically, the person I want to give Sim Racing Channel of the Month award to now is a very similar channel in the sense that they both have these smooth and very silky voices, and I tell you, between these two and Mike Smith over at Sim Racing 604, I often joke that they could do voiceover work, and if they ever do, then documentary filmmaking has their commentators for the next 5 or 10 years at least. But then, of course, if you're sick of the smooth and silky voices, you could always turn over to the comic tidings that is Game of Muscle. Or if you really want to hit the dregs, the bottom of the barrel, you can always turn over to, well, me actually. But come on, you must admit there's a lot of charm in sayings like, "G'day mate, how you going?" But now, in all seriousness, just like Chris Hay, who's amazingly shot up to 3,000 subscribers in a very short amount of time, I want to promote this channel for just any of my 700 subscribers who might not be aware of this channel. And I hope I get the name right, but I would pronounce it Dre, similar to Dr. Dre. So Dre Marcos, absolutely fantastic channel. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to the video that I particularly watched that just blew me away in the description below. Now, just for the record, rather than listen to sort of a lot of bands, I tend to listen to more guitarists. So these are probably the obvious ones like Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Stevie Ray Vaughan. But the one thing I remember distinctly about Eddie Van Halen was people saying things like, "How does he do that? How does he play that riff in that song?" And, you know, just generally, how the bloody hell does he do that? And this is the feeling I had watching this person's videos, is like, how is he pulling off some of this stuff? So meaning, in a production sense, it just blew me away. Now, mind you, I did a video on a thing called the free roam camera, and I'll have a link to that at the end of this video. But so I know about tweaking or some of the things, and I still couldn't figure out how he was doing some of the stuff. Now, admittedly, if I had to guess, I'd probably guess that it's the content manager, only from the point of view that that's because that's the only thing I can think of that I haven't experimented with yet, and I probably would have already, but I'm so focused on ACC, competition, that I've been a bit distracted, so I'll probably get into that at some stage. But other than that, the only thing I can think of is the particular editing software, whether it's a Mac or something like that, that allows him to do some of this stuff. And so to wrap this portion of the video up just in a nice bundle is his editing and production, just like Chris Hay, are absolutely fantastic. Very high standard, very high quality. So please, if you're interested to check out another sim racing channel, give him a look if you haven't discovered him already. As to me, in my mind, they are both channels that could hit 10,000 subscribers easily, and they deserve it. You know, I'm happy to stay very low. You know, I'm an amateur channel. That's always what I'm going to be. But in this case, I think he deserves 10,000 subscribers. So if you haven't checked it out already, please check it out if you wish to. And now, speaking of production values in a very loose sense, one of the things that I feel adds to that is VR. And for all us VR users, there's the most common word when we describe to someone who's never used VR, and that's simply the word immersion. But one thing happened just recently that I want to talk about in relation to this video, where there was a factor that I didn't expect, and that is that it can actually add a sense of fear. Now, I'm not talking about actually being scared, although if you've ever watched Alex over at the Extra Mole, he's got a VR channel as well, and when he loses the car and goes off a cliff, if you've heard him yelp, it's definitely can be shocking at the very least, if not fearful, but definitely gives him a shock when he's not expecting it. And so how this video came about was simply that those of you that are my regular subscribers hear me ad nauseum talk about racing online. But I tend to race, or at least the servers that are put up are always usually the same. So the common three for me are I race on the Nordschleife almost all the time, and so it's the Apex server on the Nordschleife. Then there's the Dr. Slow server, again on the Nordschleife, and then the most other common race that I do is anything related to Laguna Seca. But this server came up a couple of nights ago that I don't remember ever seeing before, and the best thing about it was an Australian server, so the ping was very low, but it was just featuring the two cars you see here in the video on the classic version, so the 1966 version of Silverstone. And one thing I couldn't get over is as you do the full lap and come back onto the straight, there's these bollards along the straight as you turn the corner onto the straight, and to get so close to them actually kind of in a sense made me fearful, or just that little trepidation about, can I get close enough but just not hit them? And I almost had to quote Devon Booth over at Twitch, almost had a feeling of his saying where you put your hand out and go slap hands, and I could slap each bollard as I go by. It was that realistic, and I couldn't get over that sense of fear, but not, it doesn't make you scared, but just how realistic the bollards seemed to be when I got so close to them. And so to wrap up this second portion of the video, as we watch the final bits of this external replay and we go to VR view, is the marriage of the three things together. So it's the natural VR immersion that it gives you, but then the extra bonus of being in a classic race car like this Ferrari, absolutely incredible car. But then also on top of that is that slight sense of, shall we say, trepidation, might be a better word than fear, as you get so close to a wall and it feels so real in your mind because everything's enclosed, and it just adds that extra bit again. So I hope you enjoy the VR view of this replay. This is Michael signing out for SingleRacer. I'll catch you next time. See you later.